This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
Mint is still $15 a month for premium wireless. And if you haven't made the switch yet, here are 15 reasons why you should. 1, it's $15 a month. 2, seriously, it's $15 a month. 3, no big contracts. 4, I use it. 5, my mom uses it. Are you playing me off? That's what's happening, right? Okay, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, $15 per month equivalent required. New customer offer first 3 months only. Then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
For a limited time at McDonald's, get a Big Mac extra value meal for $8. That means 2 all-beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun, and medium fries, and a drink. We may need to change that jingle.
Prices and participation may vary.
Hey, this is Bill Simmons from the Bill Simmons Podcast, here to help you make the most of your summer with Michelob Ultra, a superior light beer worth playing for. Play for it with the guys when you're competing to see who can sink more birdies on the golf course, because winning tastes even better with Ultra on the line. Play for Ultra. Fill your fridge with Michelob Ultra this summer. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2025 Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Anything to shake this mood I'm in. My football team's got me drinking.
We interrupt this broadcast to bring you some breaking news.
Back with another episode of Shades of Blue. This is an emergency podcast. I don't know if I really like the term emergency, but anyway, kind of appropriate. This is Thad Bell from the KC Soccer Journal. With me, Mike Kuhn. How are you, Mike?
Doing well. Happy to finally have this news come out, basically.
Yeah, we can call it Happy New CSO Day.
Yeah, sounds like a good idea.
I just came up with that on the spur of the moment. All right, David Lee, right?
Yes. David Lee, formerly of New York City Football Club, is the club's new chief soccer officer, basically making a more or less a lateral move from the same or similar position at New York City FC over to Sporting Kansas City on a 7-year contract through 2032.
You think he asked for the 7-year contract, or Sporting said, hey, we want to lock you down for 7 years?
I could see it both ways. I mean, it gives him the stability, but I mean, we've seen in part to the detriment that Sporting is willing to give guys time to do their thing. I mean, we saw that for years with Peter Vermes. So, I mean, I could see it both ways. I could see it because there were reports that New York City wanted to hang on to Lee. So it could have been a case of Sporting was just willing to give him more guaranteed time, more guaranteed years on the contract than what New York City was willing to offer.
Yeah, that could be a big part of why he left. I know I've talked with different people who have wondered if maybe he didn't get to make as many of his own decisions with NYCFC because of their relation to City Football Group.
That's certainly a possibility. I mean, I could certainly see that as a reason to want to move on, to see if he could do it himself.
Yeah, and that's not to say that he's not capable of it or he's not doing a big chunk of it, but maybe he just wanted to go somewhere where he would have the entire decision-making process and not have a overlord.
No, absolutely. I think that's fair. to want to strike out on your own, want to prove that you can do this. And I mean, I know there's some debate among New York City fans that I've seen since the announcement of how much of a role did he play in their MLS Cup winning team? How much was him? How much was Reyna, who was actually the one that was really really making the decision on a lot of the players coming in. So I mean, I get the idea of wanting to make it your own thing and prove that it's you. And honestly, I'm sure there were other things involved, like the big thing, and I know we'll probably get into this, is there had to be some note from ownership that they would give him money to work with here. You can't say that the club's didn't get him to move from an existing club who's been one of the best in the league since 2020, since they won MLS Cup in 2021, to move to a team that is fighting to avoid the wooden spoon just by saying, hey, you can do things on your own now.
Yeah, I mean, again, we don't know, and that will be a question when we get an actual presser to Illig and to him. Has there been a promise that the purse strings have opened up? Will you have? I know that there was an X number of dollars dedicated before the season and all that, but is it still there? Will it be more? Or is there a definitive amount per year, etc.? I don't know if they'll tell us an exact amount. I'm sure they won't, but is it a good enough amount to build a team that is not only competitive, but possibly a really good team?
Yeah, I mean, that's the big thing at this point, is just being able to set the team up for the future and getting the team back to respectable. I don't like using that word, but get them back to a point where we're competitive. We're competing for trophies, competing in the league, competing to be top 4 in the conference. Even it's just that's basically the point that we're kind of at this point, is we just want to be competitive again.
Yeah, and again, I mean, I hear fans when I say stuff like this sometimes be a little critical. I want to get back to the playoffs, right? That's like the bar. That's the minimum bar you have to achieve, and then you can do more. Yes, I don't want to say it's just okay to make the playoffs. That's never the point. But it's the step process, right? You don't want to be last. You want to be in the playoffs. You want to beat your rivals. You want to finish in the top 4. You want to get home game, and you want to win a championship, an Open Cup, a Shield. So all of those are steps. Yes, we want to win everything, but it never really just happens in one giant leap. So
yeah, I mean, at this point, in general in MLS, the bar for any team is the playoffs. Like, because so many teams make the playoffs, that is a low bar, and that's the bare minimum bar for any team in the league at this point.
Absolutely.
And we've been right around that bar for basically the last 4 years, give or take.
Yeah, it's not been good enough, obviously, which is why we're in all of this mess. But
this episode is brought to you by Contentful. Marketers, you know that feeling when your creative clicks? When that social post sends engagement through the roof? When your outside-of-the-box campaign hits ROI positive? When a personalized homepage turns prospects into customers? It's utter marketing bliss. Contentful helps you create tailored omni-channel experiences without working overtime. No stress, no limits, only possibilities. Get the feels at Contentful.com.
Jif peanut butter. It's that jiffing good. It doesn't really need advertising. So instead, enjoy the calming sounds of the ocean. Jiff. Ooh, it's that jiffing good. Get your Jiff at jiff.com.
Are your business expenses playing hide and seek? With Uber for Business, the small spends that slip through the cracks, like rides and meals, go right where you need them. Because it integrates with leading expense platforms, you can say goodbye to surprise costs, missing dollars, or chasing receipts. Everything's track downable. Uber for Business. Make small steps that make a big impact. Learn more at uber.com/small steps.
Are you a forward thinker? Then you need an HR and finance platform that thinks like you do. Workday is the AI platform that helps propel your organization, your workforce, and your industry into the future. Workday, moving business forever forward.
And I just will say, yes, the bar of making the playoffs is what it is for every league, every sport that has playoffs. But when you have one that 9 out of 15 teams per conference makes the playoffs, I mean, I think that's kind of about the average now for a lot of leagues, but still, you have to make the playoffs minimum.
Mm-hmm. So back to Lee,
Right.
A little background. He'd been with New York City FC basically since before the club started. Before the club started, he's been there since their expansion season. He's been involved in signing 14 of the club's 17 homegrown players since he became technical director or sporting director, I'm sorry, in 2019. He's been, again, we talked about the roster, or I talked a little bit about the roster when he took over when Claudio Reyna left New York City. So he's been around the league for a while. He knows the league. He knows the rules. He knows how to function within the system, which is good in that he should be able to hit the ground running more so than maybe a candidate from outside the United States might be able to, because we've seen that sometimes some people pick it up fast, some people pick it up slowly, and so you don't have that potential learning curve there in this situation.
No, just curious, where is he actually from? You know,
he is. I believe he's English. I know he's from England. Played professionally in England before joining Major League Soccer in 2011 as a performance analyst at the Red Bulls.
Huh. Yeah, I want to say I thought I had heard he was Welsh, but anyway, he's been, not that really mattered. I was just curious.
But if he's Welsh, then Sporting's own press release is incorrect in saying that he, because they say that it says his native England. So
yeah, not everybody understands the whole Welsh thing though. And I could be totally wrong. So I'm gonna look it up as I get a chance. I've been pretty much in and out throughout the day. Of course, they have the biggest breaking news in, well, a year essentially, or close to a year, since Vermees was fired, since all that stuff, or they parted ways. So of course I'm out doing other stuff today. So finally got home, had some dinner, sat with the wife for a little bit, and then came down to try to break through some of this. Although he was a name we'd already heard, I had heard prior to him being announced. I just never said it because I didn't know that was. I didn't want to have the wrong people, so I didn't, unless I had some confirmation. But he was definitely one of the ones that we had looked at being a possibility, and I've heard nothing but positive about him, quite honestly, other than some fans from New York saying, he didn't do this, or he didn't sign enough big names or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, that's been the one negative. This move overall, from the talking heads around the league, from Bogert to Goss to Doyle to even Twellman, it seems to be universally seen as a good move by Sporting Kansas City, acquiring Lee. I haven't seen a talking head within the league that has said this is a bad move for Sporting. Everybody speaks highly of him. Bogert earlier today said he was one of the most well-respected executives in the league at this point. So I don't I don't want to build it up too much, but from everything we're seeing, this is a big home run move for Sporting.
Yeah, and anytime you hire a CSO or you hire a head coach or anything like that, everything is always like it's either you think it's great or you think yeah it's not so great. The reality is you don't know until it actually everything hits the road and we see all the moves and we see the progress or the or lack of progress or whatever it is. But all the signs point to this is a really good hire.
Absolutely, yeah. There's I mean, the only comparison Kansas City fans have in the recent past is Wilkinson, who obviously was met with universal condemnation, both both locally and around the league. And then you have Mike Burns, who, let's be honest, didn't have the greatest reputation coming in. He did not have a great reputation from his time with New England, and then he was out of a technical role working with MLS Next and MLS Next Pro, basically. So that one wasn't really condemned or by the league. It was just more of a what are they doing sort of move. And for the most part, Burns has turned out well with Garcia and Jovic and even Shoppy to an extent. So there's not been that's been an okay move, but like you and I were talking about, it's been a while really since there's been a move Kansas City has made that has been this universally liked.
Yeah, universally positive.
Yes, I've not seen anybody even when we picked up Dayon, it was like there were people that like were saying, well, that's a little much. That too much to pay? No, that you're seeing nothing negative right now from from people regarding this move for Sporting Kansas City, unless they're people who aren't taking their fan glasses off.
Well, there's always going to be at least a certain percentage of those guys uh, who will look at everything in some positive light or negative light. Again, I gotta say that this is probably a really good move. I will always hedge my bet a little bit, and I need to see things happen first. But it sounds like he's been very involved in making sure the academy there was built up. Again, it's New York City; you should have a lot of potential kids that from that region. But I want to see the sporting academy, the two team build up so that they are consistently supplying people up to the first team, and then what moves he does for the first team.
Absolutely, and I mean that's like Sporting had a major lull in the academy. Can we agree with that? Basically, because there's a big gap between the likes of I mean, you have Bartlett in there, but there's a decent gap between like Ian James and Jake Davis in terms of academy players that have come in and been one signed to homegrown contracts. So I'm hopeful that that's an area that he can really help the club improve in, is getting those players, because that's one of the things that that he did a good job in at New York City, was turning players over, selling players on, moving players on to new clubs, to Europe basically, and getting money to then reinvest back into the team to make the team better. Joe, oh, I'm blanking on his last name. Plays at Gladbach. He was a academy player. There's
Scally?
Scale. Yes, Scal. Yes. And
Joe
then
Scally.
yes, Scally. Sorry, thank you. And then there's Sands that as well that went over to Europe. So they have guys that have been able to. They've done a good job of moving players on to Europe, and that's what Sporting needs to really like. This will sound like I'm pandering to the owners, but to refill the coffers to then reinvest in the team to make it better, basically. Because you can't expect, again, I feel like I'm shilling for the owners. You can't expect them to just continually invest the money into bringing in new players without some sort of investment coming from selling on, like Sporting did with Busio. You would hope in the future, maybe with Ian James, maybe with the kid who started for or who came on as a sub for SKC2 over the weekend. Zamir. You just hope to build up, and that's something that he's shown he can do, or that he did at New York City. And obviously, New York City metropolitan area versus Kansas City and Kansas and Oklahoma, and however much of Missouri that Kansas City gets in their territory, basically. But there's a difference in talent and amount of people that New York City can pull from. But you would still hope that there would be improvement across the board, basically.
Well, there hopefully will be improvement across the board. Hopefully the academy has changed some things that they're trying to do, and I assume they will still be doing that because they're reducing the amount of age groups that they're doing to get a better focus on the players they have. But across the league, the league has reduced the amount of players that you can lock in homegrown territory. I'm trying to look for the right word, but they can lock in a certain number of players per age group or total, and that nobody else can poach. But that's reduced. So maybe with him here and a better reputation, Kansas City can poach more of those players from other regions that can be developed because they would have a better opportunity to play here, etc. So I mean, I just want to see because I always think, yes, I agree with you that they need to develop players. They need to bring players up to the 2 team. They need to sign homegrowns to go up and then hopefully sell them on for being part of the business model for funding your team. But you also have to have the raw resources to be able to do that. And Kansas City isn't as raw resource rich as a lot of other locations, New York being one of them.
Yeah.
So we're agreeing. We're just kind of saying in slightly different ways.
Yes, exactly.
We never do that, Mike.
Yeah. So with Lee signed, now becomes the next step in the rebuild process, basically, which is starting to find the coaches to fill the role, starting to fill staff to fill the role, fill the different roles. Because we've talked about before about how short-staffed the team is, how small the technical staff is compared to other teams around the league. I mean, they have 2 open assistant spots right now, just to get back to where they were at the end of last season, because Vermes is fired and Zorn retired. So you have 2 open spots just on your bench right now with the team that need to be filled. You have a head coaching spot you need to fill. You have a SKC2 head coaching spot that needs to fill. Probably could stand to add another assistant there. Sporting has 1 full-time scout right now, I think, in Jacob Peterson, basically.
Well, I think they still have 1 internationally, but they don't have a head scout, and I want to say the number is like 3 international scouts. So they were down to the 1. So they were missing the head scout. And then I want to say Jacob Peterson, his focus was meant to be, if I understand correctly, so please forgive me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm close at least. His focus was supposed to be colleges and like USL level, looking for gems there. And now he's had to turn to looking for players that, internationally, which, like he's a smart guy and a good player and all that stuff, but that's not been his forte, or that's not been his focus until all of a sudden you don't have those other people.
Yeah. So Lee has a giant job to fill now once he actually gets on the job, which I don't think it officially announced when he actually starts, but it's not, it's before the end of the season. That much is, if he wasn't leaving until the end of the season, that's something that would have been in either Kansas City or New York's release on the situation. So
yeah, I was actually just reading through New York's release.
Yeah. So yeah, New York especially, if they would have said he'd remain on till the end of the season if he was. So he's joining before the end of the season so he can hit the ground running, but he's got a lot of running to do with building this team up, which was something we said would happen when and if the club fired Peter Vermes, simply because of how involved he was in everything with the club.
Yeah, it was always going to be, when he left, it's going to be a couple years of a lot of pain to switch over to a new model, a new leadership, a new everything. And that's what we're seeing now, and it's painful. It's what we've said it would be. I'm not saying we should have kept him. Every time I say something like that, somebody will comment, "Oh, you think we should have kept Peter?" I'm like, that's not my choice. That's not what I'm saying.
Through the Starbucks College Achievement Plan, full and part-time Starbucks baristas receive 100% upfront college tuition coverage so they can focus on achieving their dreams, not how they'll pay for school. And those dreams might start with a degree in management, biochemistry, or any of the more than 150 offered. At Starbucks, benefits like college tuition coverage are just the start. Learn more at starbucks.com/partners.
Brooks Running reminds us that we're all powered by something. Whether it's the me-time energy of a run after a day at the office, the electrifying energy of your first marathon, or the infectious energy of a group run with your friends. No matter what energy powers you, Brooks has gear specifically designed to unleash it. So lace up and let it out. Let's run there. Visit brooksrunning.com today to learn more.
Welcome to Sephora. I'm looking for a perfume that's not too perfumey. I got you.
Serum moisturizer or moisturizer serum.
Let's get into layering.
My concealer is making me look worse.
Sounds like the wrong shade. Let's get you matched.
There's only one store that really gets what you're going for. Get beauty from people who get beauty. Only at Sephora.
Hi, let's get you a basket.
Walmart Business is in the business of helping your business. Regardless of whether you're building bridges, building spreadsheets, or building lesson plans. Ooh, that looks fun. Walmart Business can help save you time, money, and hassle so you can focus on what you're building instead of what your supply closet is missing. In short, we take care of business so you can do more with yours. We're the Walmart you love, now for your business. Learn more at business.walmart.com.
Yeah, no, we always knew it was going to be difficult. We always knew it was going to be rough. The hope is that the fact that they took almost 6 months, basically to the day, to name Peter's, name more or less Peter's replacement as the
CSO.
The CSO, basically. You would hope that with the fact that they took 6 months to find the candidate that they absolutely wanted, that maybe the turnaround will be a little bit quicker with that.
Well, and I'm quite confident that he is going to hit the ground running, and it will go much faster than if they had hired somebody from England or Belgium or someplace like that. Is there any reason I'm saying those particular countries? Anyway, just because he, like you had said earlier, and we've all said, is he's somebody who already knows the league. He doesn't have to like come in and figure it out. He doesn't have to come in and have a learning curve of how to get onto the league conference calls, or I mean, just the simplest shit that can take you time to learn and figure out when you come from outside. He already has relationships with other people for making trades, for making deals, for intel, for maybe he can go to somebody else and say, hey, can I have your second scout? Can I hire them away? All these type of things that he's already an advantage for that. Now there would have been some advantage to having a guy that came up through a championship level team in England or something like that, who would have a lot of other different contacts. So there's always advantage to either one of those. It's just how do you best manage those? And like you said, he's got a huge job, a lot of places to fill before everything can really turn around.
Yeah, and the other thing, coming from City Football Group, even though he may not necessarily be able to access all the contacts that he would have had with City Football Group, he's certainly over the past, let's call it, decade at New York City FC, has certainly gotten some contacts of his own, or will carry some of the contacts of his own with him to Kansas City. So
they're not going to confiscate his phone and take all of his contact list off. That would be kind of funny.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't expect him to do any. Yeah, I would expect him to come in and, like you said, hit the ground running. He has his contacts, he has his people. I'll be interested to see who, if we even get to hear who some of the candidates are that he'll be looking at for the head coaching job, because I would think that would be the next hole to fill, because then the head coach can do some of the legwork with regards to getting assistants in, even helping get a two coach in, and going from there, and helping to get a scout set up, help get scouting networks set up and stuff. So, I mean, I would think the next domino to fall will be the head coach. And I would think that that process is going to really start to speed up now that Lee is in his position.
Yeah. Yeah. Does this change your thoughts on whether Carey may stay or may go at all, or for any reason?
I don't think it really changes my thoughts right now. I'd be curious to hear. Obviously, you're going to get some quote unquote PR comments from, but I'd be curious to hear his opinion on Carey, and even his opinion on what his ideal playing style would be, which I assume when it is something that'll be asked when we do finally have an introductory press conference with him. But I don't think this move specifically changes my opinion on Carey. I still, I, I mean, I know you guys said it on the pod over the weekend. You love Carey, but I'm not sure this is his. I'm not sure this is his position, basically.
Yeah, and it's one of those that it's really easy to kind of go both ways on that discussion, because is he the answer to everything? Is he the solution to being the head coach? It's really easy to say no, because he hasn't got the results over this time frame. But it's also really easy to look at the other way, is he's not the problem either, because he's not the one who has built that team, or the lack of depth and quality and all that stuff. So, and he didn't have a preseason to put his own imprint on things, all these other things. It's just, it sucks. That he ends up in that, and might end up having to part ways, or maybe take a step back down. Maybe he stays. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see what happens. But yeah, in my opinion, it hasn't changed really. But that's mainly because I think there needs to be a more clean cut from Vermes, and if that includes Carey going, I think it needs to. And Yeah, I'm not sure. Roster situation being what it is, I'm not sure Carey, even with it not being a great roster, I'm not sure Carey has gotten the best out of the roster that he could, given how often he's had to, given how often he adjust, he gets the starting situation wrong, and his tactical adjustment has been fine, but regularly getting the starters or the starting scheme wrong has hurt the team too much this season.
Yeah, and I think that's another discussion we'll have a lot over the next couple of weeks. Just 'cause this is what's going to be the subject of a lot of pods and a lot of articles and a lot of Slack chat and everything else.
Yes, there will be. It's nice to go. It's nice though to go from a doom and gloom sort of, God, we haven't made the CSO signing. God, why haven't we made the CSO signing? Where's the CSO signing? I'm pissed about the CSO signing. Where's it going? Where's it going? Where it's going? To now having some positive, hey, we have a CSO. Hey, he's actually well respected within the league. Hey, the idea of being able to pull him from NYCFC. I'm excited to see what that means for what ownership has promised him to, that got him to leave New York City FC to come to Kansas City. I'm excited to see where things go from here, which is not something I've been able to say for quite a little while with Sporting.
It's kind of funny while you're saying all that, I was like, this sounds like the last 48 hours of our Slack chat that you and I have sometimes. Like,
yeah,
why is it not happening? I'm getting more anxious. Like, why is this?
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
wait,
and
there's a
let's be
positive.
honest.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
a good guy.
Yeah, and let's be honest. We've heard stuff that we just don't feel comfortable sharing publicly before it was announced. So we've for you and I, we've kind of been, our level of anticipation has been going up, outside of Doyle's comment the other day about he'd heard some names that were that he was really apprehensive about, and some that he was really excited about, and that for a little while dipped the excitement until until both of us were like, well, it's probably he heard names that weren't finalists, and that's those were the guys that put him off, basically.
And again, I don't feel comfortable with saying the finalist names that I've heard. I will say that Ray was probably one of them. The guy that was fired by Saputo in Montreal, he was probably one of them. There's a couple from overseas, and then the one from New York, this guy. And so we've chatted about all the different permutations and people and all that type of stuff. I just don't always feel comfortable saying that because some of that stuff comes from sources that are not 100% reliable, and I don't like to say out loud things that are not very reliable. And also sometimes you find out something that might put somebody else in a bad light. So I'm not the diehard reporter that's going to like out every single conversation, because it's not what I want to do.
You don't need to, and you don't want to burn a source by doing that either. Because then the next time they won't give you the information that allows you to speculate.
Right. And so positivity, that's good. A lot of excitement on what's going to happen. Probably still going to be some up and downs on the emotions if they let a coach go, or there's still 17 players that are not under contract or whatever for next year that could be gone. Some of those guys will be players that we like. It's going to be a lot of that going on. So just I'm gonna throw another twist out there to you, because of course it says in there that that Mike Burns is going to report to him and Carey Zavagnan's going to report to him, and we know the position that Carey's in right now, which sucks for Carey. It also mentions Mike Burns reporting to him, but do you think that he is just maybe seeing out the end of the contract, and that he could change, that role could also change, somebody else could be brought in? Or do you think that because he's listed there, he's a definite?
No, I don't think that's definite that Burns is going to be back. I don't. Right. I think I think a lot is going to be up to Lee and what he wants to do. He may want somebody else to be in that sporting director position that Burns is holding right now. So it's possible that Burns is on borrowed time as well. But I also wouldn't be surprised if he stays. I mean, like we said, he's not done a horrible job in the position. I mean, he's helped get
right
our two current DPs, and I mean, in a sense, he was also tied by the current roster situation that sees 17 people out of contract and a number of TAM players out of contract at the end of the season. So there was only so much he could really do, but I've not hated what he's done with the team since he's been in his role. I mean, you can't the timing of the Joaquin Fernandez signing last summer, you can't put on him. That the timing of it just to me says it was before he was hired on. So I mean, this winter was his first real chance to help remake the roster, and I think he's done a good job of at least getting a start there.
Well, and I think there's one movie he made that you left out that I think was critical to all of this. He got Polito moved.
Yes, he got Chivas to take Polito back.
Like, thank you. Like, again, Alan Polito, much respect for his ability to play when he was healthy and all that, but we don't need to go through relitigate all that. But he got Polito moved, which opened up that he was able to be part of like, oh, let's use this new rule, new mechanism, and get Dejan Joveljic over. And then, he was able to go and do some shopping and got Manu and got Shoppy on a buy one, get one 40% off kind of deal, or whatever the real number was. So yeah, he did the right things there. And then I think with finding Santi Munoz, that was a good move that he got him in on loan. And then Alan Montez, I'm not sold on Alan Montez yet. I would still like to keep Santi Munoz, which we'll go through all of this over the next couple of weeks again and again. But we don't know the numbers. So when I say I would like to, everything comes down to dollars and all that stuff. So,
and Lee may have different opinions on what he wants to do with those players compared to Burns. And as it says, Lee will be reporting directly to ownership. So they'll be the ones that will be making he'll be the one that will be making that decision, and he doesn't, and Burns and everybody else will be answering to him on that. So it'll be, I, like you said, while the season sucks and while the next 3 weeks, 2 games are going to drag, it's nice to have some optimism to head towards 2026 with some real tangible optimism, not just the, hey, we have a CSO signing, we have a CSO coming eventually.
Yeah, I was actually starting to fear that they were going to wait till the end of the season and announce him and announce, staff people leaving and all this stuff all at one time. And it would just keep going until then. And so I'm glad that it finally happened. We've heard it was close. We've heard it was imminent. We've heard it was, all these things for a while. I'm glad it finally happened. I do think, honestly, he's already started doing stuff. And we speculated on the podcast over a couple days ago that this lineup may have been a CSO asking for those players to play to see, so he could see him in person, because he probably was there, or at least heavily paying attention on TV.
Yeah, no, you had said that. I think you and I, when we were messaging each other during the game, had also said similar things at the time. So he seems to be, based off of just general perception, he's going to be hitting the ground running.
Yep. All right. Well, we kind of started this with the thought that a couple other people might join us, but everybody has their family life going on and stuff like that. So we may not have anybody join us before we close this out. But just any last thoughts, Mike? We started this off. You were very positive about this. You're still very positive about it. I mean, I haven't been able to deter you. So, not that I'm really trying to, but you know me, I've got to play devil's advocate in my own head.
I mean, there are so many. There are only so many ways for me to say it's nice to have optimism, but it's nice to have optimism. And it's, as I said a minute ago, it's one thing to have optimism to know it's coming. It's another thing to have the optimism of, hey, the guy actually has a name. He's actually going to be starting, and he's coming, and he has success within the league that he's in, basically. So it's nice to be optimistic again.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot of positives because it's a name I can spell and I can pronounce. So that's like a head start right there. I don't have to figure out which name I'm going to call him from now on, because I usually only pick one name when it's a hard name to pronounce for poor little Midwestern me that grew up out in the boonies that, you know, people didn't even always speak English very well. So anyway, that's a head start. And while you were talking, I was kind of thinking, like, you know, it's good that you were saying about how it's good to have optimism again, which we have some right now. But you know, it's terrible to be at the bottom of anything, you know, when you're down at the wooden spoon fighting level. But it's one thing to be down there with your eyes cast down because, you know, everything's terrible. It's another thing to be down there with looking up like, hey, we see something, we see an improvement happening. We have a hope in all of that. And now we're kind of looking up and forward, and that's way better than being at the bottom looking down. Wouldn't you agree?
Agreed, 100%.
All right. Unless you have something else very profound to say, I think I finished it.
Sounds good.
We are out.
Can. I don't give a damn if it's 9 a.m. My football team's got me drinking. My football team's got me drinking. My football team's got me drinking. Give me beer or whiskey, wine or gin, anything to shake this mood I'm in. My football team's got me drinking. Just been sent off. Supporters strong have all gone soft. My football team's got me drinking. My football team's got me drinking. My football team's got me drinking. Give me beer or whiskey, wine or gin, anything to shake this mood I'm in. My football team's got me drinking. My football team's got me drinking. My football team's got me drinking.